moving around on the blockchain. Now I'm basically cashless. Now I'm even getting cash back. So I watch all my high yields on stable coins. Yeah, that's where my bag at. All I really need is Wi-Fi. Get money on DeFi. Mega cash on MetaMask, Celsius and BlockFi. You better run when the runners run. Show you how to get your money up. Dollar inflated like bubble gum. Markets are jumping like double dutch. Buying up gold till I get a ton. Crypto, yeah, I got some. You better run when the runners run. You better run when the runners run.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mike Tharp. It is March 1st, 2022. Let me get on my good brother, Ricardo Hamilton. I know he's out there jamming. You better run when the runners
run. Look, man, constantly, continuously, consistently building wealth and precious metal assets and cryptocurrency, man. Fired up, man. Run when this runners run, baby. It's hot.
Bro, I am pumped. We got that hot new jam from the Raptivist on Instagram. If you guys want to follow him, he's going to be, I think, doing some more projects for us, and we're hopefully going to use some of his songs in our NFTs as well when those are released. So tonight, guys, let me lay the scene, and I'm really excited to get Ricardo's take on this as well, is we're going to talk about, are you diversified? Okay, we're going to talk about what that means traditionally, what you were probably told by your financial advisor, which of course we are not. This is all for information, for educational and entertainment purposes only. So take it and as another piece of information to help you make your financial decisions. Ricardo, before we get into any details, maybe just give us a brief summary or overview of what does it mean for you to be diversified?
Yeah, man, I mean, for me to be diversified, you just have to prepare and be able to account for all types of variables and situations. So that way that if one particular basket or asset or strategy isn't working or isn't necessarily catered to the environment that we find ourselves in, we have other options that we can rely on that's going to allow us to at least get ahead. And so it's very important that you hedge and that you diversify, especially in this economy and in this environment that we're in, because there are no guarantees. I mean, there are some guarantees. The dollar will always continue to lose value. Therefore, we will always have inflation. But as far as, the new monetary standard, what has value and what doesn't have value, what are the real values of a lot of the assets and commodities that we value? Because right now, the manipulation, the fraud in the markets, there's no real price discovery for assets. I hope you understand that the price of goods and services, commodities, you name it, everything that we're looking at is based off of a debt-based, inflated, rigged fiat monetary bubble that is bound to collapse while we're doing a transition of economic magnitude that the world has never seen before. So we might think we know the value of assets. We might think we know the value of goods and services, but the reality is going to be something very different here. And a lot of people need to wake up to that. And that's why you want to be diversified and have a plan that gives you options.
And we really have no idea what the real world value is of gold, silver, and a lot of cryptocurrencies because of the market manipulation. But so I just want to say, this is probably what you guys have been told either in school or by a financial advisor, right? Is when they say diversification, right? They mean bonds, a money market or cash, and then a variety of the stock market, right? Like people say, well, you get the S&P 500, you get your large cap, your mid cap, your small cap, and your international, and you're all set. You're diversified in the stock market, okay? But what happens when the stock market goes down? What happens if there's a prolonged depression, okay? What happens if you need access to your money before you're 59 and a half? So again, I want to get Ricardo's take on this. We did a live stream last night on TikTok with his brother. He just out of nowhere, dude was spitting fire. And he gave a great analogy. I want to make it our own. As he said, he sees every dollar as a worker. And I want to put that worker to work making me more money. So if you have all these workers that hopefully you have extra cash flow coming in, do you want to send them away for 40 years and not have access to them and not be able to take any of the profit that they're making you for 40 years and give it to Wall Street and pay them commissions to take it from you for 40 years? Or do you want to keep possession of it and get it to work for you now? So Ricardo, I'd love to get your take just on that mentality of seeing your dollars as workers.
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing that you talked about with diversifying, obviously that image that you showed had nothing to do with diversification. All that was a tactic and strategy to get you to spread your money around so they can make profits and commissions off you in every financial instrument that they have. Because one thing I know, two things for certain, during 2008 financial crisis, all of those things were adversely affected. Okay, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. I mean, everything went down when we have a real financial crisis, when liquidity and credit locks up, where there's no velocity of money. That's not real diversification, because it should have said some gold and silver on there, if anything. And now with the advent of cryptocurrency, because that's how you truly are hedging, when you take away the risk and exposure that you have to the present markets. And you do that by having gold and silver. There's no third-party counter risk, okay, when you have gold and silver. But there are third-party counter risk when you have these paper financial instruments, these derivatives, paper contracts, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and things of the like. And so this is why we've been telling people, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, that you need to be saving in physical silver especially. And you need to get it on a consistent basis. And you have to create cash flow, because more important than having a diversified portfolio is cash flow. Because if you don't have cash flow, it's just a matter of time before you're going to end up liquidating your assets. Okay, so it's important that you have cash flow. It's important that you be diversified. And yes, it is important that when you have dollars, you put them to work for you, because if you don't put them to work for you, they're just going to continue to die. And that is the opposite of financial security. You're becoming more and more financially insecure.
And so 100% correct, Ricardo. And I want to focus on, again, what we were told. Being a school teacher for 15 years, I saw the curriculum that's taught, talk to financial planners. I remember your senior year in college, they bring you, they have you give you this presentation from some financial advisor about, hey, if you put away this much money, you're going to be a millionaire when you retire at 62. Okay, guys. Ricardo and I have decided we don't want to wait to be millionaires until we're 62. So guys, this is mind blowing. Okay, you need to send this article to every person you know, because what we're told is, hey, just put your money in the stock market. Dave Ramsey claims it goes up 12% every year, or on average 12% a year, which is just a bold-faced lie. So I looked it up on NerdWallet, okay? And when you see these presentations, when these financial advisors tell you about this, here's what they show you. The average stock market is historically 10% annually. Here's the key though, guys, that they don't tell you: before inflation. Okay, so let's see what this says here. The average stock market return is about 10% per year for nearly the last century. The S&P 500 is often considered the benchmark measure for annual stock market returns. Though 10% is the average stock market return, returns in any year are far from average. Here's what new investors starting today should know about the stock market return. Now, this is what I want you guys to see. When investors say the market, they mean the S&P 500, which again, if that's not really diversification. So I think if we looked at more, it would be less. And if you were doing this, like your financial advisor probably told you, you don't even have all your money in the S&P 500. You have it in bonds, making, maybe 1-2% tops. Okay. And then you have it in cash that's losing value. So you'd have to factor that in, even if your stocks go up 10%. But guys, this is it. This is the money shot. The market's long-term average of 10% is only the headline rate. That's what your financial advisor tells you. That rate is reduced by inflation. Currently, investors can expect to lose purchasing power of 2 to 3% every year due to inflation. And this was, this is actually a new one, but I don't know if they factored into the current inflation that we are seeing. So Ricardo, your take on people understanding that most of the time when you see these returns you're going to get in the stock market or from your financial advisor, they're not factoring in inflation. They don't even know what inflation is going to be really.
Yeah, they always omit those kind of details, okay, when they're trying to dress it up to make it seem like that this is the place where you should be parking your money. When obviously, I mean, inflation is in the double digits. Even the way they used to calculate inflation, they have changed the calculating method to account for inflation. So they don't count food and a lot of different things. And when you really do the account for real inflation, it's higher than what they tell us. But one thing to keep in mind, folks, is that this is why we say you need to save in gold and silver, because gold and silver are not investments. We're not saying save in gold and silver to invest. Gold and silver is how you preserve your wealth, how you hedge against financial crisis and inflation. And when you see the price of gold and silver adjusting on the market, that's not the value of gold and silver going up or down. That's the value of the dollar going up and down. You see, the dollar is the inconsistent, a variable that fluctuate. It's the gold and the silver that's the constant. The gold and silver is going to get you what it used to get you, and it's going to get you that tomorrow. But the value of the dollar is what continues to lose value, which creates the economic uncertainty. So when we say save your money in assets like gold and silver, that's how you eliminate the risk and speculation on your money by hedging it and preserving it in gold and silver. The problem is most people look at gold and silver as an investment. It's not an investment. It's how it's more like insurance, but it's how you hedge. It's how you make sure you have wealth. It's how you diversify. And that's why gold and silver is money in Africa, Asia, Europe, and the America, and has been money since the times of ancient Egypt. And this is why you have to diversify in physical gold and silver, okay, and the emerging markets of cryptocurrency. This is the time. And more people are starting to wake up and realize it. And I hope that we can wake up more and more people before it gets too late, because there will come a time where either you can't afford it or they just won't sell it. So now's the time to get as much of this asset as you can and hedge and diversify. And folks, this information that you're getting right here for free, people pay thousands of dollars for this. We're consistently giving you some real knowledge, some real information. This is what the hedge funds and the wealthy know, and they don't tell you. But they'll tell you to go get a mortgage. You go to your bank today, they'll tell you get a mortgage, but they won't tell you that, hey, you actually can probably get this first lien HELOC. It's going to be much better for you because you can pay the house off sooner, save tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest and all the other benefits, having access to your equity and everything. Folks, the runners is massively undervalued. Like this out, share this out. This information need to be heard, and people need to take actions, because it's real what's going on around the world right now, and people need real solutions and options and opportunities.
No, exactly. So guys, right now, give me the hashtag Silver for Freedom in the comments. You guys are a little quiet tonight. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Hashtag Silver for Freedom. Like this, share it out. You know we're shadow banned. You know we've been canceled. You know our YouTube channels have already been deleted. We got to get this to as many people as possible to help save them before something bad happens. So guys, let's talk about now what is true diversification, okay? Here we have the top 9 assets in the world, okay? Let's just do 10 to make it easy, okay? The top 10 assets in the world. 7 of them are stocks. 3 of them are not. So the 3 that are not stocks, okay, are gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So if these are the top 10 assets and you do not have, again, we're not going to say numbers here, okay? I would say 10%. That's just me personally, okay? If you believe in an asset, I would have 10% of your value or portfolio in it, at least, okay? That's all the numbers we're going to say tonight. But think about that, guys. Do you think most people have even 1% of their value in gold or Bitcoin or silver if they're not running with us? Okay. Very few people, I would argue, are to even 5%, much less 10. So think about that when it comes to true diversification is gold, silver, and Bitcoin, top 10 assets. And this is what they're telling you to do, your financial advisor probably. They might say gold and silver, but it's going to probably be paper gold and silver, which isn't real to begin with. And guys, I mean, Bitcoin, right? Okay, everyone was scared last week with the whole Russia thing. Okay, Bitcoin up 16% this week. Okay, if you know how to move in this market in the last week, you could have made more money than the stock market in the entire year. So Ricardo, your take on just looking at the top 10 assets of how people need to be diversified in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And then we're going to get into, okay, now let's look at those three. How do we diversify in those three?
Yeah, people need to stop taking this as a luxury. They really don't understand that the time and what must be done, where the world is rushing towards. What are we rushing towards? Where are we going? What's the outcome? Because there isn't any good news really out there. And we're coming up to an event. We are witnessing an event, and the time is happening on this planet, and people think it's sweet. Like I say all the time, they're suffering from normalcy bias, complacency bias, cognitive dissonance, and even though it's going on around the world, the media is now talking about inflation. You see the chaos going on around the world. You see what's happening with the monetary system and everything else. And people think it's sweet. They think it's sweet, but I'm telling you, it's not sweet. People need to start getting as much physical silver as they can. They need to start sharing this information out. They need to start creating multiple streams of income, and they need to build wealth. This is an opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you if you didn't come from a wealthy family. And the people who aren't listening, who got hard heads, you keep on sharing it with them until they listen. But if not, some will, some won't. So what? You got to reach the people who will listen. It's unbelievable the information and access that we have to opportunity and the ways that we can create income and build wealth and secure a legacy for ourselves. And so many people are sleeping. So many people are comfortable with getting a little check from the government or getting a little check from a job or just have enough money to be able to buy some clothes and shoes and get something to eat. When this is an opportunity, because the situation that we find ourselves economically with inflation around the world right now, and it's coming here in the US and it's getting worse, okay, is going to leave some people in the bread and soup line, just like after the market crash and the Great Depression, okay? You don't see the bread and soup lines now because they have EBT cards, but most people, okay, are not ready for what's really coming, because understand the data that we have today is from 3 months ago. I hope you understand that when they're giving you inflation data and when they're giving you the statistics, that's from 3 months ago. It had to process. It takes time. So you have no idea the actual mud of a situation that we are in right now, and you will not get that data until 3 months later. By that time, it could be too late for you, because the banks, the governments, they know ahead of time, and they start moving their money around out of the stock market. They start doing all kinds of things, and they don't tell you. It happened, but when the coronavirus hit, certain politicians started taking their money out of stocks because they knew ahead of time what was coming. And do you think they're going to tell you? This is why I always say I'd rather be 1 year or even 2 years too early than to the largest wealth transfer in history than 1 day too late. And people are playing around. You need to be sharing this out, and you need to be telling people it's not a game. You need to diversify. You need to get physical gold and silver. We're putting this content out here for free. But do you think that we're not getting gold and silver? You think we're just telling you this because it sounds good? You think we're not getting paid passive income from cryptocurrency nodes and everything else? This is real. This is massive, massive opportunity for those who are waking up. You know, so it's not a game. It's not a game. And as we continue, it's going to get worse. And the problem is most people are influenced by the stock market and crypto too much. Because if the market's down, you're feeling insecure. And when the market's up, you're feeling confident. The problem is you have no direction and don't know where we're going. And you need to just make sure that you are dollar cost averaging in and implementing a solution and strategy that's going to allow you to be diversified. So no matter what happens, you're going to be good. This is the time. People need to be sharing this. There should be thousands of people plugging into this, not some Dave Ramsey like you talking about. And we're talking about really giving people value here and giving them a system. It's one thing to tell you that this is coming. It's another thing say this is coming and we about to give you the parachute and the lifeboat and the Lamborghini and the super yacht and the shuttle and everything else to escape it. Share this out, man. People need this, man. They need
Fire.
this.
Absolute fire. And the sad thing is, for many people, it will be too late. And that's why we're so passionate about what we do. So let's look at what the rich and wealthy do. Okay. Inc. magazine, 5 assets wealthy people use to preserve wealth. It's not cash. I'll give you a clue. Exclusive real estate, fine art, rare coins, gold, and usable precious metals. We have a business that does all of that. Okay. Fine art, rare stuff, right? Baseball cards selling for $5 million. Pokemon cards selling for $184,000. Stamps selling for $1.6 million. Toys, literally a Boba Fett selling for $150,000. Okay. So this is what the wealthy do. We have businesses that have 4 of the top 5 that the wealthy use. Just some examples, because again, we're talking about diversification, right? When it comes to gold and silver, you have bullion for defense, you have numismatic or rare pieces of artwork for the offense. Okay. These are real world prices that we get as members in this company, where we're buying something for $90 that sells for $10,000, where we buy something for $349 that sells for $1,100, where we buy something for $139 that sells for $1,000, where we buy for something for $500 that sells for up to $2,000. We literally this week learned about a 13-year-old who flipped a coin for $500 profit. If 13-year-olds can do this, you don't have an excuse as an adult. So Ricardo, maybe just, we only got about 5 more minutes, but maybe speak really quickly on this is the real diversification, not buying large mid-cap stocks and international growth. It's getting real assets in your possession and then diversifying amongst bullion and numismatic or rare pieces of artwork.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there. I mean, you got to do what the wealthy are doing. You literally just went over it, the top 1 through 5. Literally everything that they mentioned in top 1 through 5, we have companies that are providing that solution. I mean, and on top of that, one thing about having assets, like I said, once again, it's great. But if you do not have cash flow, you're a disaster waiting to happen. If you're relying on one stream of income, you are a disaster waiting to happen. So you have to have cash flow and you have to build wealth. And when you look at, well, how do I build wealth, right? Do what the wealthy do. And Mike just showed you straight up very clearly that the wealthy are holding exclusive real estate, fine artwork, gold, precious gems, and one of the other gold. Okay, so I mean, this is the time, folks. It's not complicated. It's not hard. You just got to find people who realize that there is a problem, that they have a problem, and then you just have to show them the solution, man. So I'm just fired up and that we are awoke, awake, aware as much as we are, and that we have found real solid systems and solutions that are centralized and decentralized, okay, that is not only helping us, but helping thousands and thousands of others all across the world that are plugging in and utilizing the same platforms that we are and getting this message of freedom and opportunity and wealth creation. It doesn't stop. It just gets better for us. Let's go out and help more people. Share this out. Run with the runners. Lace up. Let's get wealthy.
Amen, man. I mean, you are so on point tonight with everything everyone needs to hear. So the last one, real quick, okay? How do you diversify in crypto? Because you don't just want to buy just Bitcoin or just Ethereum, okay? So we have an app for that, okay? We talk about getting free airdrops. We talk about different blockchains. We talk about even stable coins. That's where you can literally just have $1 that earns 20% a year. So right there, we have a solution that beats the stock market, where you don't give away control of your money, where you can access it at any time. All right. So, and you could even put it in an IRA if you want to avoid taxes. All right. So we have a better solution than what is being presented to the general public. It is literally in this app, whether it's Kronos, Avalanche, Polygon, Terra Luna, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum. I mean, we cover multiple blockchains and show people solutions depending on their risk tolerance. And again, we're dealing with passive income. So it's just lack of education. My people perish because of a lack of education. That's where we're at. That's what our goal is. That's what our focus is. So right now, we are jumping to another Zoom to help teach and educate more people on how to become free. So what you need to do, if you want the Runners app, look down below in the links, click on Ricardo's link. All right. If you're ready to go to the Zoom and learn more about what we do and how we do it specifically, join the Runners Facebook group, and you will find a link and the poster to the Zoom that we're going to right now. Join the Runners Facebook group. We post everything we're doing in there. And Ricardo, last 30 seconds. Run it, baby.
Lace up. Let's get wealthy. We'll see you guys on the presentation tonight. I hope you're in the Runners Facebook group. Click on the link. See you there.